Hey, what's up, guys? Andrew and I are going to drop some knowledge on creative.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about creative, right,
Potentially,
Andrew?
one of the most important things in the customer journey is the creative, if not maybe the most important thing.
Absolutely. So you and I talk about this a lot, privately, of course, and that's that, there's a lot of great media buyers out there.
Yeah.
Right? A lot of great media buyers out there. There's a lot of great agencies out there that have good media buyers working for them.
Yeah.
We're one of them.
Yep.
We have a lot of great media buyers working for us. But really what sets us apart, or any agency apart from another, or a media buyer, what really gives that media buyer a chance to succeed is the creative. That's it, right? It's the creative.
For sure.
And if they don't have a solid creative team behind them, they're not getting the click-through rates where they need to. And I don't care how good of a media buyer you are, you can't make an account work if those ads aren't clicking. So tell me about that, Andrew, as a media buyer.
Yeah, as a media buyer, there's tons, probably hundreds of thousands, if not, millions of very talented, fundamental media buyers who can do their job, right? Mm-hmm. They know their targeting, they know their strategies, they know how to build campaigns, they understand the platform. But the problem is most media buyers have analytical brains. It's that right side, left side of your brain, the creative side and the analytical side. And a lot of people will hire a media buying agency and they're almost expected to, save their business by running ads. And this agency was running my ads and they just never worked. And when we take on new clients, the first thing we do is usually do a deep dive into the account to see what other agencies have been doing. And what we find one of the times, the biggest red flag is the click-through rates are too low.
Absolutely.
Which is the start of the customer journey. If your click-through rate is low, you're already tying one of your media buyer's arms behind his back. Because if the creative isn't connecting with the audience, they're never going to click through to the site. They're never going to buy a product. So I don't care who you are. If the creative you have has a below a 1% click-through rate, it's going to be hard to turn that water into wine as a media buyer.
Absolutely. And oftentimes it's even below 2%.
Yeah.
We can't, sometimes we can't scale an account unless it's at least 2%.
Yeah.
And obviously every account is unique. There's no hard and fast rule there, but, it's crazy to me that creative is usually considered as an afterthought when somebody's engaging an agency. Mm-hmm. When a e-commerce store owner is going to hire an agency, they're not thinking, I need a creative person. They're thinking, I need a media buyer. I need a better agency to get the results that I want. They're not thinking, I need better creative. Mm-hmm. Or they're thinking they need better creative and they think that hiring that media buying agency is going to get them that better creative that they need. But creative and media buying, just like you said, they're two completely different skill sets.
Yeah.
Which is why at Sawtooth, we separate those functions completely, right? We have a creative production agency, division of our agency, and we have a media buying division of our agency. You run the media buying division. And, so tell me what a media buyer goes through, when they enter into an account and they get the right creative. Explain to me what it looks like, the difference between creative that's not clicking like it should and creative that is clicking like it should, and the trajectory and the pace at which we can scale that business when it's right.
Absolutely. When you have the right creative, when it's connecting with the audience, it just pretty much lights a fire inside of a media buyer. I see it every day. When we get the new batches of creative from our team, we put it in our media buyers' hands and they're able to upload it into the campaigns. And we immediately see an almost exact trajectory from click-through rate to conversions to conversion rate to success and to conversions at the end of the day. It's because the click-through rate is solely really we talk about headlines, we talk about ad copy, we talk about so many different things when it goes into running ads. But the biggest lever to always pull is specifically the creative. Is it a video? Is it a static image? Is it a GIF? Is it a carousel ad? Yeah. That's what's going to get the people to stop in their feed and look. And if they click, that's great. But the number one thing is what's going to stop someone in their feed. When they're scrolling on their phone, maybe they're, at the toilet, maybe they're waiting in the lobby for something and they're on their phone. Everyone's competing for their attention. You have your coworkers, you have your friends, your family, the kids you went to high school with, and they're all posting things on their social media. But what's going to stop someone from scrolling and view an advertisement? When we're running ads, we're basically trying to be salesmen. But what happens is, if your creative isn't connecting, it's like you're banging on the door of a door-to-door salesman and no one's home. Mm-hmm. But if someone is home and you're banging hard enough, someone's going to answer that door, and that gives you the opportunity to sell to them. So if your creative isn't connecting, people are just going to scroll right past it, and it's never going to stop in their feed, and you're never going to get that chance to sell to them. So that's why when we connect with a lot of brands and we start, helping out different companies, we see their click-through rates below 1%, sometimes below 0.5%, and they wonder why it's not working. It's because people don't care at all. They'll never even get to learn about the product. They'll never get to learn about the service because nothing is stopping and getting their attention and giving us the opportunity to actually sell to them.
That's right. That's absolutely right. I think that what I see as well on top of that is that the brand owner is focused on the wrong problems in the business. They think that it's like, oh, I need a better media buyer. You don't need a better media buyer. Your current media buyer might be an awesome media buyer, right? I'm not here to tell you that your current media buyer is not great, but the creative team that's backing that media buyer might not be great, right? They might not be putting out enough creative. And by the way, we don't bat 1,000 at creative either, right? We iterate though. The difference is week over week over week, we are throwing new creative at that problem.
Yeah.
We are always finding the creative that clicks harder for that brand owner so that we can scale them up. Even if we've checked the box that it's good, we're always trying to beat it. And I think the velocity of creative, which a lot of media buyers and a lot of agencies don't do, the velocity of creative that we put out is astronomical compared to our competitors, right?
Absolutely.
How many creatives a week on a brand that's scaling are we throwing at the wall, do you think?
Oh, we're launching new creative every week. And another thing that's really important to us is testing different types of creative because, as someone who's been doing this for 10 years, has spent millions and millions and millions of dollars on ads, I also know that for every single brand, different types of creative can cause different reactions for different people. There's some people who may react to something really funny. There may be people who react to something that's some user-generated content, like a video testimonial. And there's some people who might react to just a static image ad with bright colors. So we're not just testing, this brand would be great for this type of ad or this type of creative, and this brand would be great for this type of creative. We test all different creatives for all types of brands because even if one type of creative works really well for this brand, there's still certain people within the demographic of that brand who might react to those different types of creative as well. So we're always testing different types of creatives, different formats. Are we doing tall rectangles? Are we doing squares? Are we doing carousels? Are we doing funny videos? Are we doing serious videos? Are we doing testimonials? Are we doing static images? Are we taking those static images and converting them to GIFs? Are we potentially adding calls to actions at the beginning of our video, at the end of our video? We're doing so many different iterations so at such a high volume that we're able to figure out what works, what doesn't work really fast. And the last thing that's really unique about that is so many different companies and brands we work with will have creative agency A, maybe they do have a creative agency, maybe that creative agency is pretty good, and then they have their media buying agency. But those two companies don't want to work together. They don't ever talk to each other. They don't collaborate. There's no synergy between them. And to be fair, most agencies don't want to work with other agencies. This space tends to be kind of competitive, and there's not too much people wanting to, help each other out, unfortunately. So what's great about us is I really feel like we have this unique relationship where not only are, our teams work together, but the CEO of our creative division and I have been best friends for 20 years. We were the two kids making movies in our backyard, playing Star Wars and filming it on, VHS camcorders.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So we're able to do this now as adults. Yeah. And our two teams have that synergy of being able to say, hey, this worked, this didn't work. And immediately be able to get iterations in 24 hours based on that creative and get it live. Where you talk about the life cycle, if you're working with two different agencies, being able to iterate a test, it could take a week to be able to get that creative live. Where we're able to do it on the fly and honestly leave most of our clients out of that loop so that they can focus on what they're good at, which is growing their business, and we can focus on creating creative and launching that creative.
And that said, that's a great point, that handshake between media buying and creative, right? And it's this volley like in tennis back and forth, right? And you got to be checking, the creative team is checking with the media buyer daily on how those things are performing, because the exact performance of those things on a day over day basis is what how we sort of like lock on our target, right? Because we're testing all these things. One might hit. Right. And that communication back and forth of like, hey guys, this one hit, let's make 10 different versions of this one. right? So next week, you've got 10 different versions of that one now as a media buyer that you can put into play, but are right in that exact zone that you know is already working. You know it's already clicking. And that's oftentimes where we have our biggest wins.
That's why we can take a brand who we start working with, and they might have that under 1% click-through rate. And we can very quickly get them to those 3% click-through rates where we can start scaling them really fast, because that creative problem is always the biggest hurdle to get over. But with how we have kind of our ecosystem built right now, it really allows us to get over that hurdle really quickly and focus on whatever the next biggest problem is in their business.
Absolutely. And here's what's super cool about Sawtooth is that all of that said, we can just do creative for brands. We don't have to do their media buying, right? We can just do media buying for brands. We don't have to do their creative. We can just do funnel optimization for a brand. We don't have to do the other things. We can treat it in an a la carte manner, and we can communicate tightly with those other teams because we know how to do it. We know the communication that's required and the frequency of communication that's required to make that a successful partnership. So look, guys, if you feel like your creative isn't clicking at the level that you want, I want you to click on this ad right now and see what we have to offer here at Sawtooth.